the gap, it was said we had a choice. 317 years ago, when the universe knew it was a universe again, and it was deemed that actuality could be aware once more. With the snap of a finger, the blindfold was removed from the eyes of existence, and the societies underneath were faced with a choice: to rise above from the ashes of nothing, or to crumble under the weight of the great unknown. To adapt or perish, essentially. And while our wonderful keepers of modern history love to present this moment in bold black and white, about the courageous civilizations that persisted onwards despite having no memory of who they were or how they were, the truth is never quite so simple, is it? It's often much more uncomfortable, much more unreasonable. Sometimes magic finds itself in the hands of the unworthy and the ignorant. Sometimes it was all just the clumsy, endearing mistake of an unchecked god. Sometimes the strong just fade away, or the weak survive, just because. Whatever the reason, whatever history tells us, whatever truth hides from us, I can't help but wonder how much of an illusion choice really is. I mean, what is meant to be is meant to be, and will always come to pass. Right? So how can you judge? How can you point a finger? Is not the end always the end? Perhaps that's just what I need to tell myself. The view really is outstanding. For what it's worth, I am sorry.
We welcome you all to a roll-to-cast RPG podcast in the world of Starfinder by Paizo Incorporated. Starring Ellen Graham as Ada Prime, Christopher Bond as Zahhak, Phil Harker-Smith as Clink, and Karma Duffield as Pinch. Story, GMing, and additional rules by Sean Fleur. Design by Jack Sumner. Music by Paul Goodman. This is Among the Dust. It floats before you. A beacon, both metaphorically and literally. Home to many, a retreat to many more, a hideout for some. The cultural and political beating heart of the Pact Worlds. Absalom Station. It was 41 AG when the Absalom Pact was signed, promising security, mutual trade and stability between all the planets of the system. And while each world still enjoys their individuality and autonomy, this space station beckons them all and joins them all. 4 of you included, the crew of the No Wrong Answers steadily approaching the enormous structure's orbit. You are on the hunt for your next gig, the next mission to fill your pockets and keep you flying another day. And while you're usually pretty adept at finding your next job at the end of your last job, you've been coming up empty recently. So you think to try your luck back on Absalom Station, where jobs are available, but morality is mixed, if not vague. As you continue to fly closer, let's meet our crew. Who you are, what you look like, and where we find you on board the No Wrong Answers. Starting with Phil.
So, you will find Clink and his drone, Dex, in the engine bay of the No Wrong Answers, trying to find the source of that rattling that has been plaguing them from their recent trip. He is Shirin, so he is a humanoid insect, standing about 6.5 feet tall, with teal, aqua exoskeleton, and a pair of antennae shooting upwards from his head. His compound eyes are a light sheen of purple, and he's wearing some rather beaten up freebooter armor that he sourced from a black market to make sure that he can take a few knocks here and there. He doesn't have tools because instead he has his customized rig, a sort of second set of digits and appendages that is kind of wrapped around his torso and his arms. Shirin only have the 3 digits, which make certain tasks, like, say, typing on a computer, somewhat more difficult. So one of the things he has is that his rig will extend over his hands to add a few more digits.
Extra digits! Oh,
to improve his typing speed.
I need that.
He is currently craning his head through a tiny gap in the bulkhead of the No Wrong Answers, while Dex, who is a flying drone fashioned after a dragonfly with 2 pairs of wings, is scuttling around inside one of the tubes, and he's peering after it, trying to see if it can find the rattling problem.
And as Dex like scuttles off, and you can see him just fading off into the darkness, and you lose sight of Dex for a moment as your head peers in. We zoom out and go a little bit higher up the ship, potentially. And where might we find Chris or Zahhak?
Zahhak Inanna Deva, the Ravener of the line of Ellis, is in his quarters, a very lush space. He is his 7-foot tall body and grey skin, black eyes, and smooth face without a nose. His forearms are pulled together into a prayer position as the 7 foot has been bent, and he's sitting on the floor in some sort of prayer, doing an open noise, the om.
And does he find that, is this a moment of calm to drown out the everything that kind of goes on in the ship sound-wise and the rattling and just the chaos that ensues on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, absolutely. The eyes are closed, the hands are in the prayer position, and the om emanates from the Kasatha in an attempt to ignore the machinery around and try and find stability.
And unfortunately, in your moment of quiet, you can very audibly hear the sound of a scuttling, obviously like directly underneath you, as what you don't know is Dex scuttling through the underbody of the system, but you can hear that rattling just underneath. Clearly there's like a little open section underneath that he's made his way into.
Does Dex also make some adorable kind of droid whistles akin to maybe a BB-8 or an R2-D2?
I'm sure he does, yes.
That's a note for Sean.
Yeah, I was gonna,
editing later.
I've already been thinking like, I'm going to have to go through that sound library.
Quietly under Zahhak's om, the om stops and you hear a, "Why must I be disturbed at every turn?"
Boy's really fighting for that om there.
And as the om fades out, we are transported into another part of the ship. Where might we find Karma or Pinch?
I believe Pinch, sometimes operating as the pilot of the ship, is looking out through the front, at the vision in front where they're going to go in for a landing. But right now, given that there's not a whole lot to do there, is probably spinning around in the pilot seat, unable to stay still for too long, and probably just organising his belongings for when they do land and exit the ship for a period of time, making sure he has everything tucked away, counting his credits, and making sure he's got everything ready to go when they can finally get on with something rather than just drifting through the stars.
And can we just get a brief physical description of what our Pinch looks like?
Mm-hmm, absolutely. So Pinch is a humanoid rat, as all Yosoki are. He stands at about 3'5" at his full height. It's a respectable height for a Yosoki.
Sure.
He'll have you know. And he has quite standard, one might say, mousy brown fur.
I wouldn't say that to a rat, though. I feel like that would be offensive.
He's nearly always got some kind of stain, dirt, mark on him. He doesn't take the best care of himself. He's from a desert planet. He's quite used to being covered in a bit of red dust and things.
Great.
And he's also wearing some old banged up freebooter armor with a bit of a jacket. He's got plenty of pockets to keep his bits and pieces in, and he wears quite bright, garish, like oranges and yellows. Despite being quite sneaky, the colors don't stop him from being able to sneak through the shadows. He's
Betrays his sneakiness.
yeah, he's just that good.
Well, you would have been really sneaky on a red planet, I'll tell you.
Exactly. So with the red dirt that often coats him and things like that, it kind of all blends together a bit, and yeah.
And I imagine as the chair is spinning around on one such rotation, the camera whip pans and we find ourselves in another point of the ship. Where might we find Ellen or Ada?
This might be a quick little question for Phil, but does the No Wrong Answers have a med bay?
So it has a science bay. Yeah, so it has a laboratory and a workshop and a cargo holder. It's 3 extra kind of modular areas.
Yeah, it's space.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, being a science officer, but also hoping to run some regular checks or diagnostics on themselves, Ada will be in the laboratory. Ada is an android, medium height, with somewhat feminine features, but quite androgynous. Their skin is almost semi-translucent. It's not quite fully translucent, but you can definitely see whirring and circuitry and different kind of lights beneath the skin. Their eyes are slightly bigger than you would expect. There's humanoid features of, eyes, nose, lips, all that kind of thing, but they're either slightly too large or slightly too small or slightly too spread apart. There's just a bit of the uncanny valley if you would look at Ada's face.
If you get too close to Ada,
yeah, from a distance you might think, it's just a human with some weird skin, and then you get closer, you're like, I don't know.
It's an android with weird skin.
It's an android with weird skin, and their hair is kind of very like different lengths and different kind of styles, and it's almost like fiber optic, with like kind of different colors throughout. And they're also wearing some similar armor. It seems to be necessary in this kind of line of work. But she has a penchant for jewelry, with certain rings and kind of obviously very homemade jewelry, stuff that's made out of wires or circuits or old chips that have kind of been strung together in a sort of somewhat makeshift necklace. Clearly a fan of the DIY craft, our Ada is. And they're looking at, they're kind of hooked into a machine, looking at essentially trying to just diagnose themselves a little bit.
Now, the No Wrong Answers, which the 4 of you are presiding on currently, you live, you work, maybe not so much play, you sleep together. Not together separately, but together. But the No Wrong Answers has a variety of quirks and experimentations that prevent it from being considered conventional or aesthetically pleasing or entirely safe, to be honest. However, one of the more handy additions that Clink made to the Junker was a thrown-out recalled onboard AI. During its short shelf life on the market, before its reputation as a heavily buggy piece of equipment had been formed, this clunky-looking black box that now has its home at the helm was known as the Reflexively Engineered Guidance and Intelligence System, or Regis, as you've come to know it.
Regis. Love it.
And you hear a...
I am not sure who is deciding to listen to me at the present moment, but I would like to inform you all that you are being hailed by Absalom Station. Pinch, would you like me to... Pinch. Pinch, stop spinning.
No.
Pinch,
Head spinning. Yep.
would you like me to put it on screen for you and the rest of the crew?
Yeah, go for it.
Patching you through.
And overlaid onto the view screen at the front, so the backdrop of Absalom Station fades away, and you see a very bland-looking office, white walls, and a very bored-looking man. Grays starting to come into the hair, worry lines, just what looks like either an anxious wreck or, to be honest, a straight-up depressed wreck. And he's got a pair of headphones that he's got, and he's almost got one hand just resting on his chin.
This is Absalom Station Traffic Control, East Side designation. Please identify your ship, the complement of crew on board, the purpose of your visit, and intended length of stay.
G'day. Why the long face?
I'm just doing my job, rat folk person. Sorry, that's not
Ooh,
That's not in the guidebook.
not very PC around here.
Sorry, please identify your ship, the complement of crew on board, the purpose of your visit, and intended length of stay, please.
This is the no wrong answers. There are 4 crew members on board. We're just looking for a bit of a job to get us back out there again, earn us some credits, and we'll be here as long as it takes to find one.
Ooh. Is that the first roll of the game?
No wrong answers. Everything appears to be in order.
Tip-top shape.
Well,
Please maintain
from your perspective, maybe.
Please maintain the running of your drift beacon for identification purposes and adhere to all rules and regulations herein as determined by the Prime Executive and the Syndics Guild. If you wish to dock with us today, Dock 47 has an interior bay available if you'd like to make your way there now. Thank you very much and enjoy your visit to Absalom Station.
And the view screen just cuts out.
Okay, bye.
At that moment, coordinates you just see at the bottom right-hand side of your view screen, coordinates instantly pop up on your piloting screen there, guiding you towards one of the protruding arms of the station into Dock 47.
At this point, I think Zahhak will make his way to the helm to see Pinch standing over him, 7 foot tall. Kind of is it a wide space, Phil, in your mind, the helm, or is it like a cramped, like
Quite
single
crowded.
fighter kind of space?
So, has anyone played the Fallen Order, Jedi Fallen Order?
No.
Okay, never mind. It's like a 2-person cockpit, right? So they
Okay.
have 2 chairs
Yeah.
that are like slightly suspended.
Yeah.
They can fold out from the wall and rotate and obviously spin as Pinch has discovered very early. And Clink has to constantly oil them and make sure that they continue to spin. But it's like a two-person.
A bit
and
like
it's sort
the
of
Millennium Falcon?
That's what I was
a
gonna
bit
say.
like the Millennium
Yeah,
Falcon, and it
very
sort of
good.
narrows into the screen at the front. Yeah.
You're in close quarters.
Yeah,
That's a
Zahhak-
better reference.
Zahhak
yeah.
will lean over. What did that trash bag wish for?
Just wanting to know how long we're being here and, letting us know where we're going to go. I think it was, was it 74?
Yes.
47.
That was not
47.
correct.
47.
You hear in your mind.
Oh yeah, you can't hear Ada, I assume, but that's what she said. That was not correct.
I'm taking us in now. We're just gonna dock and see what we can find down here. Get ourselves another gig.
The sooner we're out into the void, the better.
And
Mitch has nothing to say to that. He's heard it plenty.
as it like fades off into an uncomfortable silence as the literally double your size creature looms over you while you're piloting through.
seated.
With black eyes and a head that extends backwards.
Your ship starts to pass through the faded blue transparent field that protects the opening to the hangar into the atmosphere-filled bay. You slowly bring the ship to a stop and you pause your little fingers working, well, not quite calmly and effortlessly, but definitely furiously and rigorously. You start to hear the various mechanisms and systems shutting off all four of you inside the ship, and you are left in silence.
Well, Dex, I think we'll have to try and track that down next time. Time to go ashore.
And Dex, like you just hear the comes out right in front of your face.
Hovers. It's hovering in front of me, and it does that thing that dragonfly do, where they move.
You don't even see them
stop,
move.
Move,
Yeah.
stop, move,
Oh,
stop.
yeah.
I
Move,
love
stop.
that.
Yeah.
Almost like a little Z.
Yeah.
Does it have like can it move on land? Does it have little legs
It
as
has
well
little
if it
legs.
wants to?
Yeah, it has a
Amazing.
land speed, so yes, it can move
Great.
on land, and it also has manipulator arms, so it can actually do little tasks.
Oh, great.
Can I just say, Phil, fucking fantastic.
Excellent choice.
Thank
I
you.
love me some little droids, and if they have tiny little arms, the better.
Even better, yeah. But it will kind of alight on Dex's shoulders as he goes down to the cargo bay, which I presume is kind of the easy way off the ship, where you
Absolutely.
can open the doors and...
If you will permit me, I understand you are searching for your next payment. Not that I was eavesdropping, but simply that I can't not eavesdrop. I have taken the liberty of traversing the online networks and infospheres of Absalom Station and Galactic Hammer. Have a potential lead that you might deem useful. Would you like to know more?
Always.
There has been some encrypted digital messages arriving at the Rig House, the multi-purpose establishment deep within the Spike. Though it is run by a local gang within the Spike, the building is infamous for pairing individual crews, such as yourselves, funnily enough, with jobs and contracts. It is infamous for other things too, but that is less important. What is important is that you can find the Rig House in the Down Low district. This is considered much safer than the slums further down. The slums are where you are from, is that not correct, Clink?
Yes. You're telling me all sorts of information I already know. Seems to be your specialty.
I apologize for being helpful.
Well, if the AI is responsible for the ship, how can it know things beyond what we teach it?
Like how to be a better conversationalist?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was getting at.
That I can probably not help with.
What did
Nor
you say?
can many of us.
No.
Hammer what?
Pardon?
The name of these people with a potential job for us.
Galactic Hammer.
Galactic Hammer, thank you. Regis, could you download all this to my pad?
I think you are mistaken. I did not use the words Galactic Hammer. I said the Rig House.
You said something with a hammer?
I think you are mistaken. The four of you.
Oh, I think it is possibly about the phrasing. Who is offering the job? Regis?
At that point, I do not know. We know that simply certain messages arrive at the Rig House at differing times. I can tell that the messages have passed through, but I cannot tell who it is for and who it is from. But hopefully, who it is for can be the four of you. Haha, wordplay.
That was rather advanced for an AI.
I am a reflexively engineered guidance and intelligence system after all. I am meant to be learning constantly.
Excellent. Well, put that into your data, Regis. That was quite good.
Thank you.
We'll have to agree to disagree on that one, Ada.
Well, 1 out of 4 success rate for that wordplay.
Nah, make that 2.
2 out of 4 for that wordplay.
The Yosaki
Unless-
gets it.
And so the ramp descends from your ship.
Off you go then.
And-
That's rather ominous.
Oh my god.
And the four of you make your way into the cold, cramped hangar. You exit the confined space, and you begin to navigate yourselves out from the bay into a myriad of corridors before entering the main floor of Dock 47. The noise hits you like a brick. A cacophony of sounds, a microcosm of interstellar life as all manner of beings push past one another, bumping bodies, racing through, both departing and arriving, Yosoki, Lashunta, Vesk, humans, contemplatives. This is life on Absalom Station. Fast and chaotic. Your eyes, all four pairs of eyes, scan the various neon-lit arrows along the floor and up on the distant walls, and you finally find what you're searching for. The spike.
Well, perhaps you should lead the way, Clink, as it is a place very known to you.
Yes, I tried to spend as little time as possible in down low. Has a slightly well-earned and seedy reputation.
There's a high level of danger.
It's the spike. There's a constant low level of danger, I would say. It's hardly like being on the service of Eox or something, but do keep your wits about you. And we should probably hurry before someone else snaps up this work.
Agreed.
Yes, the faster we're off this planet or station, the better.
You're only happy when there's nothing around for
Anything.
millions of kilometers, are you?
Correct.
So interesting. I find Absalom Station to be, no matter how far away I go, always ever-changing every time I come back, like a microcosm of the stars out there. I see we agree to disagree.
Shall we?
Yes.
I think Pinch is already getting a little bit lost in the crowd,
Pinch.
walking forwards despite
Yeah.
not quite knowing the way.
Ah.
I think Zahhak might pick Pinch up.
From the collar.
Pinch, are you ready?
I'm always ready.
All right. And he's going to put him on his shoulders.
All right.
I have
add
suggested
10 bulk.
it.
No.
Yeah, I can do it. I've figured it out.
I figured you would have.
Yeah.
I bet I had no qualms that this would have been factored absolutely into the way Zahhak works.
I have suggested many a time that we create some sort of inflatable system to easily locate Pinch.
Well, I suggested a flag can pop up from the top of his head, but he didn't really go for that.
And Pinch, all this is like happening as
Yeah.
the four of you are walking and talking about you, not necessarily to
He's
you.
just looking in every which direction, looking at all the people, just loving it, loving being in the bustle of it.
It is important to preserve Pinch's respect and honor. And then we'll like put a hand up to keep Pinch on top of his shoulders, like you would with a baby, or like or a 2-year-old.
So now, keep in mind,
Very strange party we built.
Pinch is now like 9 feet in the air.
Correct.
10.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I
Yeah,
think
oh,
he's not
yeah.
standing, so
true.
yeah,
Not
sure.
standing on your head.
Yeah. It's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
about, like
Yeah.
9 feet, which is crazy. But it's a good way to
He's
navigate
seeing
your
everything.
way and see over the crowd.
Imagine there's sort of internal transport systems, trams, elevators, lifts, and stuff that
Yeah.
can
There's
get
a-
you around.
There's a variety of different ways that you can get down to the
Wait.
spike.
Oh, did you... A choice, you say? A choice of how to get there.
Oh,
no.
I've made a mistake.
We should have got Regis to route this area more efficiently. Otherwise, we'll get lost in the choices.
Yeah, but then Clink wouldn't be able to get his jollies off over there.
Merely enjoying life. It's not a jolly, as you would put it.
But potentially, I feel like eventually, the four of you start to head towards, and you go to one of the ends of the docks, go up onto a slightly raised second level, and disappear through another corridor as you make your way through to the spike. You have been listening to Among the Dust, which is a Roll to Cast production. The best way to find us is on Twitter, Discord, and our Patreon. All our podcasts are on Acast, Spotify, YouTube, and all good podcatchers. You can support us on Patreon at patreon.com/roll-to-cast. Starfinder and all associated properties are trademark of Paizo Incorporated, authorized through Paizo's community use policy. before entering the main floor of Dock 47. The noise